Welcome to episode 75 of 100 Songs. Today we're talking about the band The Cure and my favorite song from them, a Forest remix version off of Mixed Up, which came out in 1990. So this one's, I would say, is probably a bit controversial because I think people that like The Cure really like The Cure. There's some pretty hardcore fans, and I guess you could really say that about a lot of big bands. Cure's a big band. They're super popular. They go way back, and but I do think, fans probably feel pretty strongly about their favorite era, maybe their favorite song. I guess this is really true about a lot of music. It's kind of how music is in general. The reason I say this one might be a little bit controversial is that, I don't think this version of A Forest is really, I would probably guess that it's not on anybody's top 10 list of favorite Cure songs. A Forest might be the original. Certainly could see that on people's top lists for sure. Mixed Up version, not so sure. And I think for me, just coming out right away and just offering that I'm not a huge Cure fan. I do like The Cure. I know probably all the songs that everybody else sort of paying attention knows. So got a lot of radio hits, a lot of songs that have been around as far back as I can remember, really. And I knew a lot of people in high school. Well, actually more college, but somewhat high school too, that were big fans. And so I did get a little deeper into The Cure in about the 90s, when, I was exposed to it a lot from friends and stuff. Mostly girls. Seemed like a lot of girls like The Cure, but I'm not suggesting that that's true on the macro level, but that just seemed to be, I knew 2 or 3 girls that really liked The Cure and they're friends, so I was listening to them quite a bit then. But A Forest, this particular version of this song, A Forest, the remix, I really like the addition of the more synthesizer-y sort of sound. I heard this version before I heard the regular version, and I fell in love with this version before I even listened to the other one. So I think order has a lot to do with things sometimes. If you hear a version of something and you sort of make it your own in terms of in your music memory, and you've established that you love this song, and then you hear a totally different version of it. It's the same song, but it's a different version of it. I think a lot of times you're gonna stick with the first one that you heard and loved, even if it's not better. Music's all taste anyway. But that was the order of things for me. I really like this song. I really liked Mixed Up actually when it came out. I don't know. I felt like it flowed really well. Most of the songs that I heard were I heard for the first time on this album. So I'd go back and hear originals, and I'm like, well, where's it's not the version that I'm familiar with. So anyway, no need to go any more that direction. That's kind of my excuse, I guess, or sort of my experience with The Cure is Mixed Up was sort of my Cure album, which is weird because I think people might say Disintegration, or they might say Wish, or any host of other albums. They got a lot of albums. I gotta give it to them. They go way back. For funsies, I can't believe I said that. For the heck of it, right before I recorded this, I listened to Forest, the original version of it, off of 17 Seconds, and I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I kind of think, I mean, I'd heard it before, but it's been a really long time. I do think if I would have heard, this in order, I probably would stick with the original. But the part I like about the mixed up version is, again, the layered sort of synth sound. I guess it's really guitar, but there's a synth kind of mix or sound during a certain part of the song. It happens multiple times, and it's right around where the guitar part. Anyway, I'll play it. I'll try to kind of highlight what I'm talking about. But anyway, I did listen to the original. I watched the video actually, and was, it's a pretty stark difference of what Robert Smith looks like the last 30 years than what he was looking like in the 70s. He's just, back when that originally came out, he's just some chap from England playing guitar, looking a little broody. And along the way, he kind of started to look like my grandma, particularly lately. But again, the guy's got an image that's iconic, I suppose, and people adore Robert Smith. They just adore him. And The Cure is really about Robert Smith, isn't it? I get that there's a whole band, and there have been lineup changes, and a band like this over all these years, of course there's been lineup changes, but there's been a fair number of lineup changes. Hardcore fans know who all the members are, know who all the members ever were, of course. Like I said before, I'm not a big enough fan to really be able to tell you who's in The Cure or who's ever been in The Cure other than Robert Smith. Of course, I can look it up, and when I do these videos, I do look it up, but just off the top of my head, I know there's a few members that are kind of considered more mainstay. They originally formed in 1976 as they were schoolmates. Of course, that's the theme I've talked about here before. So all these bands, so many bands forming either in high school or college, and that's kind of where a lot of the stuff starts, which makes a ton of sense. Initially called Easy Cure, and their first debut album was in 1979, which is a long time ago. Three Imaginary Boys. They're from Crawley, England. Did I already mention that? I don't think I did. And so they're British or English. Their second album was in 1980, and that is the aforementioned 17 Seconds with a Forest. So when you see the Forest video, you're seeing a very young and new band. I mean, this was their second album. You're going all the way back to 1980. So, fast forward just 10 years. And you got mixed up. And so you have this alternate version of a forest just in 10 years. And I had just finished high school and I was in college. And somebody I met was a big Cure fan. And I got this CD and I enjoyed the shit out of it, like I said. The Cure made their kind of top 100. They hit the top 100 in the U.S. anyway, with Head on the Door, which is their 6th album. So going in 6 albums before breaking through to the U.S. And they broke through pretty big time. They're still around, like I said. They've toured not that long ago, and still making new music. I think, I'm pretty sure they still making new music. So hats off to them. I think at this point you look at how deep their catalog is, how many songs, how many albums. I think it's kind of undeniable. This is a great band, and let's take a listen to a couple minutes into the remix mix. That's what it says on Spotify. It says remix mix. Mark Saunders. Anyway, A Forest. Let's check it out. If you haven't heard this in a while, you should check it out. Okay, so that was the part I was talking about, that ethereal sounding little musical break there. And this occurs 3 or 4 times in the song, after a verse, pretty much. And that part, I just love the way it sounds. There is a little bit of music memory there, so it kind of makes me think of Sierra College. But I love that part. It gets me every time. Let me go back a little bit, play that part again. I'm probably going to go back too far. Here, right here. Back and forth. Trippy. Here's this part again. Great stuff. Great stuff. So that's it. That's A Forest remix. I did want to share that my concert ticket. I did go see The Cure again when I was in college. So in 1992, I went to San Jose State, spring and fall semester. I was home during the summer because I had nowhere to live. And it was the summer of 92, July to be exact, that I saw The Cure. The Cal Expo Amphitheater in Sacramento. And this would have been the Wish tour. Wish, super popular album. Wish came out early 92. And so this show was supporting that album. And like I usually do, I dug up the ticket. Oh, it's all blurry. It's going to be blurry, isn't it? Yeah, it's blurry. What are you going to do? There it goes. So, never mind my mangled fingers. Yeah, Cranes. I don't recall Cranes at all. That was the opening band, apparently. 2250. The Cure. So, what's that? Almost 30 years ago. No, it was 30 years ago. 32 years ago. Goodness. Wow. Yeah. Those couple of years right around this time, right around the very early 90s, I saw kind of a lot of bands like this. Depeche Mode. I saw David Bowie. Not that I put these together. Morrissey, Erasure. So that was the early 90s. Along with all the metal and everything else that I listened to. A bit of which that I've covered in these videos. Let's see what's on deck. I know you don't love me. Okay, this next one's a bit, I would say, obscure. Peter, Bjorn, and John. We'll talk about that next time. See ya.